Hello, I'm Terence, derogatorily known as Lisp Guy, and this is a video that one of my wonderful YouTube people named Niloc Trekram requested. He wants me to talk about my worst fears, so this is that video. Now, I will do a video about pretty much anything you guys want. Like, if you ask for it, I'm just gonna do it because I'm a nice guy like that, and it's cool. But it kind of made me giggle, and not like the lol way, but like real things. Because this is a strange thing for people to say. Because if this is real life, and you're on the internet, and a grown person came up to you and just said, "Hey, what's your worst fears?" Then that's kind of strange. Like, that's a weird question to just ask someone randomly on the street. But here in my safe space, it's okay. I'm safe. Yeah, you're safe over there. And yeah, this is a pretty safe place that we can be, and we can talk about these worst fears. Because I feel safe and I can still sleep at night. Sometimes. So I'm not stupid. I know what you guys came here to hear me talk about. I have lots of worst fears that would bore a lot of people. Things like dying slowly and painfully of AIDS in a glass box at the bottom of an ocean, and gross bugs. But that's not what we're going to talk about. You came here because you want to hear the strange things. So instead of my all-time worst fears that are boring, I'm instead going to talk about the strange fears that are not so boring. They're just strange. Now, when I started this channel or vlog or whatever, I promised that I was never going to lie. So these are not my ultimate big time fears. It's important for me to say that and keep it real, homies. So, some scary things. Oh, and I made a list. This is my list of all the things that I fear, because it's not something that I really talk or think about all the time. But I just had to make a list so that I was quite aware of many, many things in life that do absolutely terrify me. So it's a lot easier to not just go off the top of my head, you know? I already talked about the Halloween thing before, but to recap that story, it was basically this. Halloween costumes were scary and bothered me. So I just had to sit at home most Halloweens and watch cool movies. Or lame movies if my mom picked them out. And we put candy out for the kids to come and take, and the teenagers would usually steal all the candy. And I would get upset, but my mom would be like, "No, Terence, that's their Halloween too." And I just had to sit down and watch the movie quietly, or she would stop loving me. A different thing that would count as a strange fear is a snowman with branches for noses instead of a carrot. I don't know why or how this came about really, but when I see a snowman with a branch for a nose instead of a carrot, it really bugs me. Like in those scary movies where you get like the dark holes for eyes, and if you kind of get like sucked into it, it just, I don't know, it just has that like weird effects on me. I can't let my neighbor know that though, because he's a jerk and he trolls me, and he would just build a whole bunch of snowmans with branches for noses all along the front of my property, and I would never be able to leave my house again. A sort of different fear is Christmas cold. It isn't really a fear anymore, but there was a time, this one Christmas, where I was freaking out around November because I thought I was being a bad kid, and I remember the whole like coal being and a stocking thing. And I didn't know like coal could be cold. I don't know why. So I was pretty anxious like the whole 2 months that I would get hot coals in my stocking and it would burn me. But for some reason I thought I would still get presents even if I did get the coal in my stockings. So I kept having these bad dreams of like not being able to open my presents because my hands were burned and they were like wrapped in gauzes due to the burns. Finally, it got so bad that my dad told me that Santa isn't real, and I slept like a baby after that. I was like 15. A fourth thing that I don't really know if it counts as a fear, but it's like cemeteries. But only at dawn. It's that like break of dawn cemetery thing. I can't really get rid of this one. I feel like any other time of day, a cemetery is just like normal and it don't bother me. But for some reason, John, I just think of like dead people waking up in the morning, and it just freaks me the heck out. A fifth thing that I don't really classify as a fear, but I just don't like talking to grown men who work in candy stores. There is this like big fancy store that specializes in selling like vintage and retro candy, but it's not like 30-year-old candy because that's like it's gross. It's new candy, but it looks like it's 30 years old. But there's this grown man that owns this store, and he works there, and he sells it to like little children, or even adults like me, and it makes me uncomfortable. And it's strange because I like the Candy Man from the Willy Wonka movie, like not Willy Wonka, but the Candy Man from the beginning. He seems like he would be a genuinely nice guy. Like you might even want to go out and have a beer with that guy. But in real life, men selling candy to children makes my skin crawl. Oh, so after number 6, I had a pretty traumatizing nightmare about it. So at this point, I feel like it's going to be uncomfortable for me to revisit that idea. So I'm just going to pass on that for this time. I might make a video about that sometime in the future when I'm less creeped out by it. But for right now, it's just a better idea if I avoid it altogether. So 7. This one isn't really all that strange either, but it definitely just makes me uncomfortable to think about. It has to do with bare hands on ice. So like when people go ice skating, anytime I hear someone fall and you have their bare hands, I have to look away and cover my ears immediately so that I don't hear the anguish. Because when I have images of someone skating over top of their fingers, and it's just, I don't like it. So my a-hole friend told me about these hockey players who had a skate that came across and cut the guy's throat. 2 times that happened, by the way, in the hockey. So the hockey players don't wear neck protectors, which is really bizarre because I feel like if anybody at any point in time gets their throat cut from a skate, then you're like, guess what? I'm wearing a neck protector so that doesn't happen a second time. But then it did. So anyways, thanks a lot to Patrick for putting that in my brain. And that's not like a shout out to Patrick, like thank you for putting that in my brain. That's you're a jerk and not a fun way shout out. Okay, Patrick? But both hockey players lived, and that's a good thing, so everything's okay in the end. I also once got freaked out while watching a Dan Aykroyd movie because my light bulb blew. There are some other strange ones that I have on here, but they're a little bit too real for myself and others, or they're just not as fun or strange. So I guess I'm just gonna have to pass those ones, but we're gonna have to stick with just the skates. The skates and the fingers really, I don't like it. Oh, and there is this other one about like men running, but I don't think I'm allowed to talk about that on YouTube. So maybe someday I'll upload that on a website called Xtube or something. Does Xtube exist? If that is a website that doesn't currently exist, then I'm calling copyright on that immediately. And you can't steal it. I touched black. No takebacks. So I guess that's it for now. That was a bit longer than I thought it was going to be and contained a lot less quality than I thought it would. But I hope I didn't disappoint you, Niloc Trekram. The continued love and support of my subscribers is what keeps me going. So I love you guys and girls and kids. Wait, do kids watch this? Because now I have questions for my followers. Can you tell me how old you are? Comment below and let me know. Okay? I love you and have a wonderful day. A less strange and creepy day.